Changes have happened, and as of today, December 2nd, 2022, I am still waiting for a written reply from my landlord to find out whether my lease is going to be extended or not. So that is one of the changes that we need to talk about. But before I do that, I'd like to do two things. First of all, I would like to thank all those that took time to subscribe. A small channel like mine really depends on your support, and thank you very much. I cannot build this channel without you. You have no idea how much your support means to me. The second thing is, it's the 2nd of December 2022. Merry Christmas, everybody. I will probably be putting out one more video before Christmas, and then things will shut down for a little while. There are pieces and parts in transit. I will be doing a video on 2 of those 3 pieces. Once they arrive, the third one is not coming here. If you haven't got a coffee, like this one, go grab one, come on back. Let's talk. Hey, got your coffee? Good. I don't know about you, but I don't like cold coffee, so I'll be reaching over for my cup and drinking it while it's hot. And speaking of change, and speaking of coffee, this is exactly what I mean. This is a bag of Melita coffee that I brought with me from Canada. I've had it ever since I arrived. This is my last bag, and if I'm really super broke and can't afford to buy coffee, I've at least got something to get me through at least a week. And here is the change. This is IKEA. There's an IKEA store here. These beans are nowhere near as good as the Melita, but they're half the cost of Starbucks, and I actually find that this tastes better than the Starbucks. But this one here, I have been drinking an awful lot of this. This is a Vietnamese coffee. It comes in 2 different types. This one has a sailboat on the label and the decal, and the other one is an airplane. They're both very good coffees. I cannot pronounce the name, so I'll just spell it. It's 2 words. The first word is T-R-U-N-G. I say again, T-R-U-N-G. And the second word is N-G-U-Y-E-N. Both the sailboat and the airplane are really, really good. I drink a lot of this stuff. There again, changing. In my build, I've had to make some major changes. I had a long talk with my son about a month ago. And I've told you before that carrying around my big 7,000 watt genset and that great big air compressor I have, even though they're both brand new, the genset never seen a drop of fuel. It's got oil in it. I got to pull it over every once in a while. The air compressor is new in a box, but the weight is killing me. The genset is 200 pounds without fuel. It's 260 with fuel. And the air compressor weighs 100 pounds. That's an awful lot of weight. I've said before, I don't really want to spend the money to go out and replace that genset with an inverter and replace the air compressor, which is brand new, with another air compressor. Well, those are the changes that I've made. It's going to take, I figure, a year, maybe a year and a half, for me to recoup in gasoline, actually I run diesel, the fuel price that carrying all that extra weight around means. I also have a hole now that the genset used to operate that I can set a toolbox in. So that's another plus. To do all this, I've had to completely redesign my entire electrical system. I had to scrap everything and start all over again. There's advantages and disadvantages to that. When the new inverter gets here, I'll discuss that a little more. The new inverter is going to make some major changes, and I will share those with you once I have something to show you. For those of you that have been watching the channel, you know that my build is sitting behind me here. I have taped off an area of my living room that matches what a 20-foot shipping container would hold inside, and everything I'm buying is going into my build. Most people will buy a unit and then they'll build it out. I've had the luxury of owning a slide-in camper for many, many years. I've learned a few things. There's a few lessons I haven't learned, but I have learned some. I am not an expert. I do not have all the answers. I don't want you to think that I have all the answers, but I know I have a few because of the things that have happened back in the late 70s and early 80s and 90s when I had my camper. Propane is the last thing you want. Absolutely the last thing you want. Because when you burn propane, one of the byproducts is water. So when you turn on your heater in your camper that's propane fired, you're putting moisture into the air. That moisture on a cold wall is going to condense, and now your walls are going to rot. I really don't think you want that to happen on the camper you spent $50,000 or $60,000 on if you're buying a new one. I have to build my own camper, and I have to build my own camper for two reasons. One, I want to be able to go inside a shipping container. The door on a shipping container is only 90 inches wide. Most North American campers are 96. So I can't put the camper in the shipping container. It doesn't fit through the door. Four-wheel campers make a camper that slides into a shipping container. I know that. I've watched Grizzly and Bear drive theirs into shipping containers. Matter of fact, as I'm recording this video, they're getting ready to pull out and move again, getting their truck and camper ready to go into another shipping container. It can be done. It's not hard. But I don't want a canvas top. I've done winter camping in tents. It's not fun. The canvas needs an awful lot of maintenance. You have to keep up on your waterproofing all the time. And if you bump it and scratch it and run and rub it, you rub part of that waterproofing off. The maintenance is just too high. Plus the fact there's nothing between you and the outside temperatures except that piece of canvas. So I've decided to build my own camper, and I'm using Formula 250, which gives me an R rating of 10. An R rating of 10 is not all that much, but that's the best you can do. When you talk about my build and where I am, because I'm in the process of moving, or possibly moving, one of the things I've been doing over the last 2-3 weeks is redesigning my entire back end of my camper because of the changes I'll be telling you about a little later on. I'm at the point right now where, sitting on my Amazon cart as of last night, I'm looking at about 1,700 Canadian dollars worth of material. I have another 200 Canadian dollars worth of material sitting on eBay, and I probably have another 6,000 sitting in Princess Auto, that being the hydraulic system. My camper has to be able to come on and off my trucks. That means you have to have a jack. Yes, there are jacks you can buy commercially, but those jacks are going to cost me more than my entire system. And my entire system is going to be hydraulic. I don't have to screw anything down. I don't have an electric motors to fail. My main hydraulic pump motor can fail, and then I'm really in trouble. But it doesn't pay me to go out and buy 4 jacks and mount them on my camper. I have to work my hydraulic cylinders inside my build. I'm looking approximately now, I'll give you just a quick rundown of where I am still needed. My water tank My fuel tank are 55-gallon tanks. My gray tank is a 40, made by Trionic. Those tanks are going to set me back about $1,200 plus shipping US. But there's no sense in buying them now because nobody at the other end in Canada has got a place where they can store them. So that has to wait. Hydraulic system I've already talked about. You're looking at around $4,000. I need a camper door. I need a stair set. And I'm looking at one of those electric ones to fold down from the inside. Lithium-ion batteries. They're not giving those things away. And I need two. I need two 200-amp batteries or more. I have two 200s now. So I will end up with 800 or maybe 900 amp hours of power. The new inverter I'm buying is a 5,000 watt inverter. It'll pull more jam than the two batteries that I have now. And I know that 400 amp hours isn't enough. Even though I've got 1,600 watts of solar pulling in, plus a 60 amp DC to DC charge controller. I need more battery power. I know that. I am not running any propane. I am all electric. The only fossil fuels that I'm burning are the diesel heater, the truck, and I'm running kerosene in my Coleman stove that I do most of my cooking on. I am set up for induction cooking. I have two 2,000 watt single unit burners that are going to serve as my main cooking. I'm trying to get away from as much fossil fuel as I can. And as I say, propane you don't want. I have a Snowmaster fridge. It works like a charm. It's at a friend of mine's house. They're using it as their main fridge right now because their other one broke down. I'm looking at buying a single door 95 liter. And I'm doing that not because I'm rich, I'm doing that because I'm poor. I shop once a month. And with Priya, who's laying behind me over here on the ground, she goes through anywhere between 7 and 11 kilograms of ground up chicken breast a month. That's just her, that doesn't include me. And that doesn't include her eggs and kibble. So I need some place to put all this. I can't be running back and forth to the grocery store every 2 weeks. I don't intend on being into an area where I can run into a grocery store every 2 weeks. My back is shot. Shellman seats are around 2,000 US dollars a piece. Now I may buy one seat, I may buy two. Normally I travel alone, so I will be spending money on the driver's seat, not so much on the passengers. The last thing you put into your vehicle is your suspension. Well, I know that I'm going to be using airbags. Not as an airbag suspension, but airbags as a helper with leaf springs and shocks. But I can't even address that problem until such time as the camper is built. We have everything inside we're going to be taking with us so we can get our final way out. I've got about 2,000 pounds of payload left, maybe less than that, maybe around 1,500, because I've already calculated out the weights of my aluminum, the weights of my fuel, the weights of my water, and what have you. So I'm going to be running pretty close to max, and I'm using the GVWR from a Dodge 3500. The Ford, and I'm single axle, by the way, not dual. Sikaflex is how you hold the panels up. According to Riley Casey, he told me the number of tubes that he bought, and I'm looking at buying a minimum of 15 tubes at $29 a tube. PL Premium glues the outside and inside aluminum skins to the formula, and they used one tube per side per sheet. So there goes 24 tubes right there. And I say that because I need 12 sheets of formula. The rivets run about $150 a box, Canadian. They're 30 cents a piece. They're a special Maglock rivet, which are waterproof. Now I have one box, I'll buy a second one just so I have a spare set of boxes. The Secoflex is not an easy product to work with, and one of the things that was highly recommended is that you get a pneumatic caulking gun, because pushing that stuff out of the tube is almost impossible. If you have to, use a squeeze trigger gun like you would do for around your bathtub, I already have one of those sitting in Canada. I still have to get a front bumper. I still have to build my roll cage. I still have to get the rubber matting that replaces the carpet that's in the truck. My truck will come from Ritchie Brothers Auctions, and following the prices that I have for about the last year, on the low side you're looking around $7,500. I think one went for $5,000. That's not the rule of the game. The rule of the game is somewhere around $21 to $25 for what I'm looking for, which is a 350 to a 550 unit. I don't want to buy a 250 and then have to spend all sorts of money trying to beef up the suspension, and the frames can't handle that weight. The heavier trucks, the ones that are 1 ton and higher, are designed to carry the weight. The frames are beefier. And while I'm on the topic of truck frames, do not try to compare a Toyota Hilux to a Toyota Tacoma. They're both made by Toyota, but they're not the same truck. The Tacoma is 6 inches wider. Almost nothing from the Tacoma will fit on a Hilux and vice versa. So that's basically where we are. If I'm here for another year, I'm going to continue with the things on this list I've been reading off of. This piece of paper here is from a caster company. I'm looking at about 400 Canadian dollars to buy the casters that I'm going to need to put on a plate to hook up to the hydraulic cylinders, so when I push the cylinders down into the ground, I can slip the camper up off the back of the bed of the truck and then roll it into a shipping container. These are the sort of things I'm going to be doing this year. Don't expect a lot of videos until I get back to Canada. I may do some on some cooking you can do, because I love to cook. There's a commercial stove sitting inside the house here. I have enough pots and pans and what have yous that I could actually open a small restaurant. I was thinking about going to culinary school when I retired, not because I wanted to open a restaurant, not because I want to be, the next Jamie Oliver or what have you. I'm never going to be as good as Hiroyuki Sakai. But I enjoy cooking. I enjoy giving the people that come to my house for meals a good quality meal. My signature dish is lobster stuffed chicken. But on that note, don't be afraid to make changes. If you're going to be buying a vehicle, take the time to sit down with cardboard. What you're looking at here, this little piece of cardboard, is from wrapping paper. I literally have taken, I think there's 8 or 10 sheets of graph paper and taped them all together and gone a 1/4 inch to an inch, and I've literally drawn out my entire camper. Everything. You gotta know what fits where. Space is critical. Somebody found the cat. And seeing as how we're gonna get barked over, again, Merry Christmas. And to those of you that took the time to subscribe, thanks. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.